Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust is a UK-based organisation dedicated to preserving the history and values of the Pan-African leader Marcus Mosiah Garvey, founded following a 2013 visit to the UK by Garvey's son, Dr. Julius Garvey. The Trust focuses on education, memorialisation and community empowerment. Marcus Garvey's second wife was Amy Jacques Garvey, a Jamaican-born journalist and activist. The couple married in July 1922 in Baltimore, shortly after Garvey's divorce from his first wife, Amy Ashford Garvey. They had two sons together, Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr., also referred to as Marcus Mosiah Garvey III, born on the 17th of September 1930, followed by Dr. Julius Garvey, born 1933. He built a distinguished identity as a medical professional, an accomplished cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon. He is widely known today for his tireless activism in preserving and defending his father's legacy. Marcus Garvey said, "All the knowledge that you want is in the world, and all you have to do is go seek it." Marcus Garvey said, "All the knowledge that you want is in the world, and all you have to do is go seek it." Praise Jah, Rastafari. Marcus Garvey says, "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." In January 2025, President Joe Biden issues a posthumous pardon for Pan-Africanist leader Marcus Garvey, clearing his 1923 mail fraud conviction. The pardon arrived more than 100 years after Garvey was sentenced to 5 years in prison, a conviction long seen by supporters and legal experts as politically motivated and intended to cripple his global Pan-African movement. It failed. Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust is a UK-based organisation dedicated to preserving the history and values of the Pan-African leader Marcus Mosiah Garvey, founded following a 2013 visit to the UK by Garvey's son, Dr. Julius Garvey. The trust focuses on education, memorialisation and community empowerment. Marcus Garvey's second wife was Amy Jacques Garvey, a Jamaican-born journalist and activist. The couple married in July 1922 in Baltimore, shortly after Garvey's divorce from his first wife, Amy Ashford Garvey. They had two sons together, Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr., also referred to as Marcus Mosiah Garvey III, born on the 17th of September 1930, followed by Dr. Julius Garvey, born 1933. He built a distinguished identity as a medical professional, an accomplished cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon. He is widely known today for his tireless activism in preserving and defending his father's legacy. Marcus Garvey said, "All the knowledge that you want is in the world, and all you have to do is go seek it." Marcus Garvey said, "All the knowledge that you want is in the world, and all you have to do is go seek it." Praise Jah, Rastafari. Marcus Garvey says, "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." And I'm here. It's the Demotivatorshow. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. How you feeling, people? How you feeling? Well, I'm feeling fantastic. It's been a wonderful morning. And in fact, it's been so wonderful that, gosh, they've kept me talking, and I enjoy talking, as you well know. It has been a powerful few days since the last time I spoke to you. I've met some wonderful, truly inspiring inspired human being. And if you had any doubts for the future, I want to sweep those doubts away, because the future is very much what you make it. Because here on the Motivator Show, because this is where we translate our words into action, and where success is ours for the taking. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. We've got another inspirational podcast ahead of us today. Today's show will focus on the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust. We'll speak to the leader of the Legacy Trust, who is preparing the way for the last remaining son of that great Jamaican national hero, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. His son, of course, is a renowned and world-famous cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon, but now a Pan-Africanist champion preserving his father's legacy, Dr. Julius Winston Garvey. Oh yeah, we have great things ahead of us. Yes, great things, yes. But between now and then, there's, as you know, there's a number of compelling issues that I need to bring to your attention, because this is the Motivator Show, and this channel will bring those issues to your attention. We're not generally receiving the publicity that they aptly deserve. Okay. But before I get to that, I just want to give a big thumbs up to maybe one or two of our past contributors, those who have enhanced the content here on the Motivator Show. Many of you will recall that wonderful, inspired woman. Yeah, I want to start with the women, because we are so blessed in our communities that we have some quite remarkable women. And it's always important, because it's the African tradition always to see our women as people to look to and be prideful of, absolutely respectful and honor wherever possible. Praise Jah, Rastafari. So I want to give praise and respect. You recall that ethnic Ghanaian, ethnic African, living in the United States of America. Do you recall? Can you guess who I'm going to remember, who I'm going to give light to right now? Just think about it. I would give praise and respect to a woman that played a power that, it's unusual, okay? And she sought to give light to Black capitalism, a blueprint for what is possible, okay? And what she was able to demonstrate in her book and her book tour was the possibilities our culture and tradition can overlay the general capitalism of the world, okay? And our cultural influence can create our own form of capitalism, as you like, or African communalism. Not communism, communalism. And what she was able to articulate with such power and such force, she, in fact, a dread woman, yes, yeah, was a way forward, plotting forward a blueprint. Her book, Black Capitalism, A Blueprint for What is Possible, I commend that book to you. Praise be. Rachel, well done, well done, well done. Thumbs up, thumbs up. And if you haven't read the book yet, put a link to the book underneath this video once it is finally published. Well done, Rachel. I also, of course, want to give light to another one of our contributors. And yes, I'm going to maintain the sort of business mode, I suppose. And I suppose it is necessary. In fact, it's absolutely necessary. I want to give praise and respect to Dr. Holton Brown. Yeah. The author of the Black Entrepreneurs Report, The Race Paradox. Yeah. and also the founder and organizer of the 2026 Black Entrepreneurs Conference, to be held here in London. Details of which, if you haven't seen it, again, I'll put the link how you can obtain tickets and discounted tickets because you referenced the Motivator Show. If you want to get into business, that's the conference you need to be at. If you're in business, you want to develop new contacts, yeah, that's the business, that's the place to be at. And if you're just thinking about it, but are considering, of course, the finance and the preparation, this is the place to be. Go to the UK Black Entrepreneurs Conference for 2026. Details will be on the screen and below this video at the end of the show. Well done, Dr. Carlton Brown. Yes, we went with the two wealth creators, those who are thinkers of how we create wealth and retain wealth within the African communities worldwide. Praise Jah, Rastafari. Oh yes, inspired contributors. Thank you to you both. Thank you to you both. And I believe you've not met each other. That I need to arrange. Thank you. Thank you. And now move on to another one of our campaigning subjects, which I know you would all appreciate, why it is important to us. It's a subject very rarely that gains mention in the usual platforms, usual international media. Okay. Why? Because it's primarily affecting, I suppose, African peoples. So it's our responsibility, wherever possible, to give light to those fundamental issues that affect the communities, the many communities that make up the African community. And that's the issue of FGM, female genital mutilation. I want to mention this one because it just simply is not getting the airtime it deserves, but it's affecting tens of millions of women. Yeah, too many women, far too many. Okay, and it's a practice which requires actual physical mutilation. It does. That's what it requires. I know many women have it done to them when they're babies, so they can't recall the pain and indignity that was experienced. But those who are conscious, those who are able to recall, will not recall such a practice with pleasure, with fondness, with the feeling of warmth in their heart. What they will recall is the indignity and the unjustness of it all. We need to ensure, as men, that our women are in our best condition. It is incumbent on me, therefore, to bring this issue to your attention again and encourage other content creators to just mention for a few minutes in their broadcast, just so that the issue is kept alive in our consciousness. And there's no suggestion that it's been put under the carpet. We're not looking at it. Because we are. I bet far too many women who have indeed been brutalized in this manner. Brutalized in a manner which I find personally offensive. I'm telling you, I find it offensive. And many of these women feel unable to express themselves. So I'm going to express on behalf of them. Yeah, by proxy. Yep, there you are. I'm here to express the concern that many of these women feel that this practice and this harm has been happening. We will, in our next podcast, have FGM survivors and champions for this issue. People who are prepared to take on the issue. Okay? But between now and then, let me just bring this on the screen. There you are. You recall I've mentioned her, and I'll continue to mention her, and she will appear in the next episode of Demotivatorshow. And that is the councillor, Naima Ali, former mayor of Southwark here in London. She's the founder of Unshackled Duma. Unshackled Duma, and just to make it clear, Unshackled Duma is a London-based organisation that empowers women and girls, particularly from global majority Black, Asian, and ethnic and Muslim communities. The organisation focuses on promoting self-empowerment, autonomy, and advocacy, with a strong emphasis on combating female genital mutilation, FGM. It raises awareness about FGM's harmful effects and supports survivors and work towards eradicating the practice. There you are. There you have it. It is necessary, me as a man, to bring it to your attention repeatedly until we discuss it and we seriously ensure that no longer are our women and girls subject to this brutality. There you are. There you are. It's on the screen. If you, in fact, let me just put it back on the screen. If you want to reach out to her, the email address is unshackledduma followed by digit 2 at gmail.com. I'm going to repeat, unshackledduma, D-U-M-A-R, followed by digit 2 at gmail.com. Praise Jah, Rastafari. Okay. Whew. And if you'd spoken to some of the women and they share with you how they really feel when this has happened to them, they talk to me because I'm outside of that cultural practice zone. But, oh my gosh, every time I recall, I move, emotionally move, and I cannot understand how the men in those communities could permit that to happen to what might be their future wives or happen to their sisters, yeah, or to their nieces. I just do not understand how you could permit such heinous acts against your women. I do not understand you. But I say again, if there are men who wish to debate the issue with me on air, we would love to speak to you, And if you feel honestly that this is a practice you wish to preserve, talk to us, okay? Talk to us. Here's the email address. Write to us here at Demotivatorshow 501 at gmail.com. Write to us at Demotivatorshow 501 at gmail.com. We would love to speak directly to you. And we will not shame you. We just want to interact with you. We will not shame you and embarrass you. We want to understand. We will not shame you and embarrass you. We want to bring forth the other side's account of the after effects of the practice and hear your first-hand reaction. Anyway, there you go. Now, gosh, as I said, it's always very emotional. I haven't spoken to the women who've shared their first-hand testimony. I don't see how you cannot have a heart and feel for them. All right. Anyway, let me move forward. I want to bring another issue to hand, and this is very much an issue for those who are affected by what is euphemistically referred to as the Windrush scandal. In 1948, Britain's Parliament passed a law, which was brought into law by the monarch. And that law said this, that if you were born within the British Empire, this is the law that came in 1948, that you are British, whether you be born in Jamaica or Ghana. You were British in 1948, before you gained independence. You are British. I just want you to think about that. Just think about that. Born in Nigeria in 1948, born in Trinidad in 1948, you were decreed as British and therefore did not require a passport to enter Britain. It's true. It was the law. Forgive me, it is still the law. It has not been rescinded by Parliament. There have been subsequent parliamentary legislation which has undermined and watered it down, most certainly, which has resulted in the Windrush scandal. A travesty of justice. An absolute travesty of justice. So, right now, here in Britain, and indeed across the so-called Commonwealth, we're calling for a Windrush Act. I want to give praise and respect to Anthony Brown, who's leading the charge with many, many others, hundreds, thousands of others, for the Windrush Act. And we will have him here in the studio in not too distant future. Okay. He has been in regular contact with the British Home Office, ministers and others, arguing the case. And he's making progress. There's tangible progress. The new Labour government is unlike the previous government, whose previous prime ministers, and let me just can I play a quick clip of the previous prime minister? Her name is Theresa May. Just listen to what she said.
On Tuesday, I met with Caribbean leaders, where I gave an absolute commitment that the UK government will do whatever it takes, including where appropriate payment of compensation, to resolve the anxieties and problems which some of the Windrush generation have suffered. These people are British, they are part of us, they helped to build Britain, and we are all the stronger for their contributions.
Despite saying that, because she was both the Home Office Minister and became subsequently the Prime Minister, it has taken that previous government more than a decade to respond meaningfully to the scandal that we euphemistically call the Windrush scandal. Because they are indeed Windrush pioneers who responded to the core Britain, where just post-war Britain, where there are tens of thousands of vacancies, and without these workers from the Caribbean and Africa, Britain would not be the Britain you see today. It would be significantly poorer. Indeed, my parents were part of that wave of people from the Caribbean who were encouraged to come to work in Britain. Yeah. My parents were born British. Indeed, I was born British. Yeah. But yet, that right was taken away from them or watered down significantly. And as a result, has caused significant harm and hardship to many people from Africa and the Caribbean. Most unjust behavior. So what we would say to people here, is that let's get behind the campaign for a Windrush Act, which would enshrine in law the rights of a board, the rights of those who are part of that so-called Windrush generation. Yeah, there we are. I'll put the details on the screen for you. Here's. We're calling for a Windrush Act because actions speak louder than words. The time for action is now. Translate our words into action. Contact WD Legal. That's www.wdlegal.co.uk. Join the campaign to secure the Windrush Act. Working together will make a difference. Praise be. I want to thank Anthony Brown for his dedication to the cause. Well done, Anthony. Thank you. And he'll be in the studio, as I say, in a not too distant future. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. And lastly, the issue I want to bring to your attention is one that some people may well have already started to forget. But that's why the Demotivatorshow channel exists, to help us collectively not to forget, because people are suffering now. Climate change is real. I can say it again. Climate change is real. Those of you who live here in London, where I reside, will now recall in the more recent past. This winter, we've not seen snow. We have not seen snow. 30 years ago, we would have had at least 8 inches of snow here in London. In 2025, we did not have any snow. There was no snow. Some people might argue that's great, it's tropical weather. Actually, another 30 years' time, the entire climate of Britain would have been transformed. Indeed, the icebergs in the Arctic and Antarctic may well have melted, and that will have serious economic impact. But certainly, our climate would have changed. But certainly, that's true for islands in the Caribbean. Islands such as Grenada, Jamaica, Trinidad, and so on. Yeah? In more recent years, in 2024, the Caribbean was shocked by Hurricane Beryl, a Category 4 hurricane. In 2025, it's further shocked by Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 hurricane with winds of up to 187 miles an hour. Devastating winds, and has caused significant damage to property and indeed persons of demised. We will not forget this awful storm and the impact it's had on the people. Okay? We will not forget it because we want to help islands like Jamaica to build back better, greater resilience against what will be an ongoing storm that will affect these islands for the foreseeable future. If Jamaica is hit by another Category 5 storm this year, that will have serious economic impact. And if it continues to lay on and on and on, that will be profound. So there's great worry about the future, even though it's not been generally discussed in the international and indeed national press and media. But we here in the Demotivator Show can make a small contribution to help to build back better. Let's get these public buildings back into use. An organisation based here in Britain, P&P UK, had made such a commitment. Such great people are the members of P&P UK. If you're not members, I would encourage you, particularly Jamaican, come join them and join with them. Their work is sincere. Their belief is forthright. Yes, they are clear. We must help wherever we can those in greatest need. I'm going to play for you a short video of a principal of a school in Jamaica affected by Hurricane Melissa. I know your heart will be affected by this, okay? But I want you not to close your heart. I want you to hear the words of a school principal. She doesn't make money from being a school principal, I might add. She does not. But she cares passionately about the young ones in her care. Okay? Listen to the words of a school principal. Watch the video, note the building, how it was damaged. This is an example of many buildings, hundreds of buildings, thousands of buildings that were affected by Hurricane Melissa. P&P UK, Hurricane Melissa Disaster Relief Fund Appeal. For a better Jamaica.
Good morning, students.
Say good morning, parents.
Good morning, students.
Today is what month are we in?
We are in the month of January.
Everyone, I am Lexia Lewis Hines, principal of the New Building Early Childhood Institution in New Building, Nain, St. Elizabeth. We were adversely affected by the passing of Hurricane Melissa on October 28, 2025. And as such, we lost our school roof, we have lost furniture, books, and other learning materials for our young ones. I am hereby making a plea asking for any contribution that can be given to assist us in further renovating our school building so that our students can return to some semblance of normalcy. We have already received some donations and we're able to cover half the roof. The other half is patched up with the old zinc that was there from before. And as such, any contribution is an investment in our young ones, the future generation. And so this is my plea, asking for any contribution that can be given in assisting us to be better able to facilitate our young students. Thank you so very much.
New Building, Early Childhood School, New Buildings District, Nain, St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. On behalf of PNP UK, we hope you would agree that this school needs to be rebuilt so that the children can enjoy the teaching and learning experience. Support the Hurricane Melissa Disaster Relief Fund to build back better the school. Send your donation, whatever you can afford, to PNP UK. That's at NatWest Bank, sort code 600802, account number 298612333. And in the bank reference, please quote DRF Melissa. Thank you for considering. Thank you for your donations. Thank you indeed. Thank you indeed. For those of you who already contributed, thank you indeed. We are not forgetting. Yeah? We don't have short memories. I realise that that's an unusual broadcast, yeah? Reminding ourselves of the impact of Hurricane Melissa. I get that, because it's not in the general public domain at the moment. Yeah, it's not on your national media right now, and neither is it on the international media. I realise, but the cumulative effect of two violent storms across 2 years has been significant in places like Jamaica. We will not forget. I'm going to say again, we will not forget. And if you can help, if you can make a small contribution, we will get, your contribution will be welcome and well supported. Thank you. Members of PNP UK will be here in these studios to give account of what has been raised and how the resources have been spent. Thank you again. Thank you, each and every one of you, for not forgetting those in greatest need. Thank you. Praise be. Praise be. Yes, that's why the Motivator Show exists. That's why. That's why. All righty. All righty. And the last issue, and I know you will all understand why this remains a regular feature of the Motivator Show. And that's your health and well-being. Across the African, particularly diasporan communities, we have unusually high levels of obesity or fatness, diabetes, high blood pressures, cancers, respiratory conditions, and indeed mental health concerns. Unusually high levels. It is related to stress and indeed fundamentally our lifestyle. We at the Motivator Show recognize this as being an issue. It's not generally discussed across, even here on YouTube, across the social media platform, in the international media, or indeed in national media, even in the countries where it's profoundly affecting. Here in Britain, we don't discuss it enough. In the Caribbean, it's absolutely not being discussed enough. And of course, United States of America and the Americas, it is not being discussed enough. Why? Well, it's up to us to discuss it enough. It's our responsibility to bring to light those issues that directly impact and have profound impact on our health and well-being. We can't rely upon others. We've got to do for self. That's what Marcus Garvey would have said, yeah? Self-reliance, people. Self-reliance. I want you to listen to the words of someone who has devoted their life to all people's health and well-being. the Public Health Director for London. Okay. He provided some common sense advice, just common sense advice for us all to take on board. And each time I play it, I'm always struck by its just common sense, really. But common sense is not always so common, I know. And that's why consistent reminders to us all is healthy. I know many of you have heard this before, but it's important just to keep incorporating this as part of our consciousness. So part of our consciousness, use and then repeat the words to members of your family, your loved ones, those within your friends' network and beyond. And together we will, I say again, together we will make the difference. Praise Jah. Rastafari. Professor Kevin Fenton says, I'm a public health director. Here are 5 things you can do to improve your health. 1. Mindful and balanced eating. Nourish wisely. Eat whole, balanced meals with awareness to support energy and well-being. 2. Get outside. Be with nature. Time outside reduces stress, improves mood, and strengthens your connection to the world. 3. Stay curious, stay engaged, explore new interests, keep your mind sharp, build social contacts, and boost your happiness. 4. Get active, move it or lose it. Move daily, lift weight, and do cardio. Exercise, improve physical, mental, mood, and energy. 5. Prioritize rest and sleep. Disconnect, rest. Quality sleep supports mental clarity, emotional balance, and overall health. And so many of you have heard those messages and now incorporated those messages as part of your consciousness and sharing those messages with your loved ones, your network, and the wider community, understanding the significance of those words. Common sense advice. And what I'm heartened by, the number of you who've heard these messages, responded positively, haven't fallen into yourselves, but have come out of yourselves, recognize, if you work together, if you hold hands with those who are strong, those who are positive, that together we can and will transform our health and well-being. And those of you who come together in common aim and common purpose, understood we work together in unity is strength. Recognizing unity is strength. Working together, pooling your resources, hiring the facilities so you can exercise together in unity is strength. And together we can transform health and well-being. So I'm going to show you an example of a few people who've come together in common aim and common purpose. Working together, exercising together will make a real difference to your general health and well-being. Listen to these people, watch these people work. And we're going to have a few of them in not too distant future here on the Demotivatorshow to share with you their personal testimony, the transformation that they've made to their general health and well-being. That's right, they've come together in common aim and common purpose. They've exercised together, pooled their resources, hired the facilities. They can exercise together without shame or favour. Understanding, if we work together, we can transform our lives together. In unity, in strength. You can see them, they're big and they're small, they're wide and they're thin. But they'll exercise together, recognizing in unity is strength. In unity is strength. See them there. See them there. Oh yeah, well done, Ishmael. There you are. Look at that. Look at that. I hope you're not just sitting there. I hope you're helping us. Help yourself. Just move your arms, move your legs. Make a difference. Only for a few seconds. It can make all the difference. There you are. There you are. Look, they've even got their children there. Yep, they've got their children in the room. Their children watching the adults, watching their parents, watching their guardians exercise. And they're now going to incorporate this behavior as part of their normal behaviour. That's the way forward. And together, we can and we will transform the world. I'm going to pause up there. There you are. I want to give praise and respect to each and every one of those people who've come together in common aim and common purpose, understanding we work together, they can transform their lives together. First step, of course, to recognize if you're not exercising, we recommend that you do. I'm not an expert on the matter, but I believe you'll find it very difficult to find a clinician, a doctor, that will suggest not to exercise is in your best interest. They will always recommend that you exercise. Absolutely. Regular exercise helps to promote good health and well-being. Good supervised exercise. Look, if you're in London, you want to reach out to some wonderful people, just see them on the screen. Why not join them? You know, one session if you're here in London, here in South London. They meet every Monday and Wednesday between 6:30 and 8 p.m. The address is 12 Tatum Street, Tatum Street in Wharf, London. And the postcode is S for sugar, E17 1TN for Nigeria. The email address, it's countdown0405@gmail.com. And if you're in the UK, it's mobile number 07960-803-588. I commend the work of this organisation of ordinary people who come together in common aim and common purpose. Well done to each and every one of you. And the numbers continue to expect, I have to say. We may have to find even bigger premises. We're so proud of them. Their numbers are growing exponentially. Well done to each and every one of you. They're saving lives. Yep, they're transforming lives. That's what we're here to do. It's the Motivator Show, because this is where we translate our words into action, and where success is ours for the taking. Yes, I'm high on life. Yes. Okay, well done to each and every one of you. Each and every one of you, thank you. Thank you. It's now time for us to turn to our main theme for today. Okay. Our main theme for today's podcast is, of course, Marcus Mosiah Garvey and the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust. Okay. We had the honor of being able to have a dialogue with the founders of the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust, a truly inspired human being. The founder was actually responsible for coordinating the arrival of Marcus Garvey's youngest son, the remaining son. That's, of course, Julius Winston Garvey, who distinguished himself being an academic and doctor, a specialist in cardiothoracic and surgery. A remarkable man, internationally renowned for his work in this area. A remarkable man. Okay. He's 93, 94 now. He's dedicated himself to preserving his father's legacy and ensuring that tens of millions of African people, particularly in the diaspora across the continent, remember his name and the teachings of one of the early Pan-Africanists. United Africa. African peoples come together in common aim and common purpose. Because working together, we are stronger together. Praise Jah. Rastafari. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is play a part of the intro video which sets the scene for the main dialogue with the founder and leader of the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust. Okay. This intro, I believe, is quite fitting because what we're able to do with this intro is set the scene. It gives some context to our dialogue. This dialogue is the raw footage. The enhanced version will follow. Yes, I know there's a few more coming as well. The enhanced version will follow. It will be absolutely a teaching and learning tool. once it's finally completed. Many of these works are, quite enthralling, but this one is going to be outstanding. I have to tell you. Oh gosh, it's going to be so. There's so much here. There is so much. So what I want you to do, first of all, is to watch the intro video. Some of you may have seen it, but I'll just play part of it. And then we're going to the main dialogue with the leader, the founder of the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust. Here we go. The Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust is a UK-based organisation dedicated to preserving the history and values of the Pan-African leader Marcus Mosiah Garvey, founded following a 2013 visit to the UK by Garvey's son, Dr. Julius Garvey. The trust focuses on education, memorialisation and community empowerment. Marcus Garvey's second wife was Amy Jacques Garvey, a Jamaican-born journalist and activist. The couple married in July 1922 in Baltimore, shortly after Garvey's divorce from his first wife, Amy Ashford Garvey. They had two sons together, Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr., also referred to as Marcus Mosiah Garvey III, born on the 17th of September 1930, followed by Dr. Julius Garvey, born 1933. He built a distinguished identity as a medical professional, an accomplished cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon. He is widely known today for his tireless activism in preserving and defending his father's legacy. Marcus Garvey said, "All the knowledge that you want is in the world, and all you have to do is go seek it." Marcus Garvey said, "All the knowledge that you want is in the world, and all you have to do is go seek it." Praise Jah, Rastafari. Marcus Garvey says, "Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." In January 2025, President Joe Biden issues a posthumous pardon for Pan-Africanist leader Marcus Garvey, clearing his 1923 mail fraud conviction. The pardon arrived more than 100 years after Garvey was sentenced to 5 years in prison, a conviction long seen by supporters and legal experts as politically motivated and intended to cripple his global Pan-African movement. It failed. There you are. It failed. They failed. Because Marcus Garvey's name lives on in our memories, lives on in our genes. He is Jamaica's first national hero. He will never be forgotten. His memory, his works, his philosophy remains an integral part of who we are as African peoples from the Caribbean, African peoples from the Americas. There's a clear understanding when you have a person who is not simply talking about money, but he's talking about morals, philosophy, ideas of how to make the world a better place. Those ideas are infectious. Those ideas are empowering. It is those ideas of those who are clearly suffering from Afrophobia, clearly have failed to squash. Because we're discussing him now. His legacy is loud and it will never be forgotten. Watch now the dialogue the Demotivatorshow had with the founders and leaders of Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust. I'm assuring you, stay and watch every scene here, because you would agree with me that this dialogue was fundamental. We want to understand the man. We wanted to understand his vision. This is it. Watch this space. It's the motivator here. This is where we translate our words into action, and where success is ours for the taking. Hello, people. Hello there. I've got another inspirational podcast coming your way. It's the motivator here. Oh, yeah. And I've got another inspired African man with us here in the studio. We're going to discuss Jamaica's first national hero, of course, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And you're going to find this narration, this dialogue we're about to have, be truly inspirational. And you're going to be informed a great deal about the great man, yeah, amongst the very first Pan-Africanists. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, watch this space. Now, I'm going to go over to my guest. I'm going to ask him, please, just to say his name, organization. So I'm going to ask him, you know me, my third question, I'm going to hold that back. I'm going to ask that rather personal question in a moment. But first of all, sir, can you just introduce yourself, say your name and the organization you're representing today?
Greetings, everyone. My name is Eddie Capone, and I'm the chairman of the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust.
Hey, yes.
Thank you.
Welcome. So that's an important organization which I want to talk about. But before getting to the organization, I did want to ask you a question. It's Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust. He's a Jamaican. Are you a Jamaican, Eddie? Are you a Jamaican?
I am a Jamaican, born and bred.
Which part?
As I would say, you know, Jamaica gave me birth and England nurtured me.
Well, they most certainly did something to us, that's for sure. I don't know about nurturing, but I hear you. That's interesting. So, can you share with us maybe just a fond memory of your memory experience in Jamaica when you were a child. What can you tell us something? Tell us something good about Jamaica. Come on, just give us some idea.
Well, one of the things I used to do, is to go shooting birds.
Oh, what? With a slingshot? With a slingshot?
Yeah. I used to go fishing a lot, and I love sports. And one of my inspiration in sport, he was in sixth form. I was in junior form. I don't know if you've heard of this gentleman by the name of Dr. Sesley Sampson.
No, I don't know him. No.
Yeah, he was an advisor to P.J. Patterson.
Okay.
And he was also in Michael Manley's as an advisor as well to Michael Manley. He used to he used to run JOS and also the bauxite. And
JOS stands for which organization is that? Jamaica, what's that?
Which organization?
You said JOS?
Yeah, Jamaica Omnibus.
Oh, Omnibus. Oh, okay, right. Omnibus service.
Yeah,
right, got you. Yeah. Yes. Okay, thank
you
for
for
that.
Call him Chichi Bus.
I was about to say, you see, I remember now. Thank you. Right. Oh, no, this is really interesting. You remember those organizations, Jamaica Omnibus Service. I remember it myself. So, with that in mind, so did you spend most of your childhood in Jamaica before you came here? When did you come over to Britain?
I came here when I was 13, 1961.
When you were 13? Which year?
Huh?
61.
1961, October 1961.
Okay, wow.
I think it's one of the coldest years.
I was going to say, I was actually here that time with myself. So were you? So did you need a passport, or did you of a boarding? How did you come over? Because you were a British citizen at that point.
No, I had my own. Yeah, I had my own passport.
Yes. Okay. And
the original British passport.
Oh, you got the original. Good for you.
Yes.
Huh? Good for you. Wow. Good for you. So what was your first impressions of Britain when you arrived there as a 13-year-old boy?
I was shocked because I've never seen snow before.
It was cool, yes?
It was cold. Let me tell you. It was freezing. I thought, what?
Yeah. I hear you. Whilst I can't remember that particular year, that was a bit too early for me. But I have it on good account from my parents that the early 60s, the winters in the early 60s were very, very cold. Very, very cold. Here in Britain, they were certainly in London. Yeah. And it's a far cry, of course, to what we experience today. This year, this Christmas, this period, we've had little or no snow here in London.
I know it's remarkable actually how the weather has changed. I mean, I remember you could almost count on the seasons. When it was winter, it was winter. When it was spring, and everything used to work like a clockwork.
Yes.
On time, spring, autumn, summer, winter.
Yes.
It was all. Now you don't know what's happening next. Snow in April and all these kind of stuff, and you think, what is going on? So
I agree with you. I agree.
On climate change, actually, that something is going amiss.
Yes. We should all be worried. Yes, we should all be worried because this rapid changing our climate is very worrying. And of course, Jamaica has suffered these two massive hurricanes, Beryl and more recently Melissa. Melissa, of course, was a Category 5 hurricane with winds of up to 187 miles an hour. Can you imagine more than 110 kilometers per hour? those are devastating wins, which of course we've been supporting people in St. Elizabeth and so on.
Dear friends, Hurricane Melissa has torn through Jamaica with a fury unlike anything ever in living memory. Whole communities lie in ruins. Roads and bridges are gone, homes are flattened, schools or hospitals are crippled. From Negril to Morant Bay, families are sleeping in shelters without light, clean water, or security. Early estimates place the damage in the billions of dollars. Yet behind every collapsed wall is a human story. A mother searching for her child, a farmer watching his crops disappear, a nation aching but unbroken. In this dark hour, the People's National Party UK calls upon the strength, unity, and compassion of our diaspora family and friends around the world. Jamaica has stood tall for us. Now, it is our turn to stand tall for her. So we have launched the PNP UK £50,000 Hurricane Melissa Disaster Relief Fund, a lifeline to help restore dignity, rebuild homes, and renew hope for those whose lives have been shattered. So every contribution, whether £5 or £5,000, will go directly towards emergency relief, rebuilding critical infrastructure, and supporting long-term recovery. We will work with trusted partners on the ground to ensure transparency and impact. The needs are urgent: food, clean water, medical supplies, and temporary housing. But beyond these essentials, Jamaica needs reassurance that her sons and daughters abroad have not turned away. Let us transform our grief into action. Let us answer tragedy with solidarity. History has shown that when Jamaicans unite, we are unstoppable. From the Windrush pioneers to today's generation of builders, educators, entrepreneurs, our people have always risen from hardship stronger than ever. Now, through this fund, we can help entire communities rise again.
Everyone, I am Lexia Lewis Hines, principal of the New Building Early Childhood Institution in New Building, Nain, St. Elizabeth. We were adversely affected by the passing of Hurricane Melissa on October 28, 2025. And as such, we lost our school roof, we have lost furniture, books, and other learning materials for our young ones. I am hereby making a plea asking for any contribution that can be given to assist us in further renovating our school building so that our students can return to some semblance of normalcy. We have already received some donations and we're able to cover half the roof. The other half is patched up with the old zinc that was there from before. And as such, any contribution is an investment in our young ones, the future generation. And so this is my plea, asking for any contribution that can be given in assisting us to be better able to facilitate our young students. Thank you so very much.
On behalf of PNP UK, we hope you would agree that this school needs to be rebuilt so that the children can enjoy the teaching and learning experience. Support the Hurricane Melissa Disaster Relief Fund to build back better the school. Send your donation, whatever you can afford, to PNP UK. That's at NatWest Bank, sort code 600802, account number 2986123, and in the bank reference, please quote DRF Melissa. Thank you for considering. Thank you for your donations. So we here on the Demotivatorshow have been supporting campaigns to raise funds to build back better public buildings. And one building we're currently campaigning is, of course, to support the reconstruction or full installation of a basic school in St. Elizabeth. Okay, we're seeking to raise £50,000 to get the building strengthened, new roof, new equipment for the classrooms, so that the little babies, can go back to school fully. Okay, and I hope you might even be able to give us some support. We'd love your support because it requires Jamaicans of the diaspora to make that genuine contribution to Jamaica's continued thriving. I think that's right. Huh? I think that's right.
Absolutely. I've made contribution to that, support other organisations that been doing their best to make Jamaica recover. And it's one of the things that really impressed me was the amount of support that came from the diaspora for Jamaica's support from right across the world. Very impressive. And it just goes to show you the impact Jamaica has around the world.
Indeed, indeed.
For a small little island to have such influence across the whole world is something that we need to recognize as an amazing achievement for a small country to have this kind of impact around the world, and these are things that don't happen by accident, but purely by our initiative and motivation to not just develop ourselves, but our communities and the support for mother country,
Quite right.
No matter what happens, Jamaica will always stand firm, and it does carry that Marcus Garvey spirit, we're a fighting country, we never lay down and die, we always stand upright.
Let me come back to that, because I want to definitely focus on Marcus Garvey in a moment. But Marcus Garvey is but one of the famous Jamaicans that we could refer to. Are there any other famous Jamaicans that you could mention today with us? Any other famous Jamaicans you'd like to bring to our attention?
There's Paul Bogle.
Paul Bogle, oh yes, indeed. Yes, Thomas Mann, that, yes.
Mama, there was a lady, I can't think of her name right now, slipped me, very famous woman. And also, not to forget, Amy Jacks Garvey.
Yes.
People don't recognize the impact she had behind, if you like, the support of Marcus Garvey. And that's one of the things that, meeting Dr. Garvey, it made me aware of how an important role that she played. I must show you something. Let me get it.
Okay. Oh, it's got off screen now. You can tell this is not scripted, huh? There you are. It got off to show us an example of why Amy Jacks Garvey is important. And we should always remember her contribution in supporting the great man. Look at that. Oh, right. Garvey and Garveyism, my gosh, by Amy Jacks Garvey. Indeed, an important read. I recall reading that book. I've got it here in my library somewhere. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
It's something that really...
Absolutely. And if I may on that point...
The black race.
And if I may on that point, because clearly you're referring to a number of women. Let's give some focus on women. I think you might have been wanting to refer to Nanny of the Maroons, for example, as another important, again, national hero of the island, in recognizing the contribution of Jamaican women to the greatness of the Jamaican people. People like that. I recall when I met Miss Lou, the poet, the wonderful poet, incredible mind. She's in many ways, at least from my perspective, she could talk about any subject, but yet she could convert that subject into a poem and speak in a manner that every Jamaican can understand, regardless if you've ever been to school or not, She spoke with that wonderful Jamaican twang, which you say, Lord, yes, I'm proud of her. You understand, yeah? You understand that, yeah?
He was the main
Yes.
I would say, instigator of Jamaican
Yes.
patois. He
Absolutely.
is definitely
Absolutely.
the king of
Yes.
Jamaican patois,
Let's
and
recognize
he's
her. Yeah.
proud of it.
Let's recognize her. And again, just thinking about women, I'm thinking of the first woman prime minister of Jamaica. Yeah, and that's of course Portia Miller Simpson, first woman prime minister of Jamaica. Let's recognize her as well. Yep, let's recognize. Oh, in fact, let me do my wonderful clap because I want to do this. Yeah. Let's recognize Portia Simpson. Yes, yes. Portia Simpson, yes? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that, we need to recognize the women. Whilst the men have been impressive, we need to recognize those wonderful women, those wonderful Jamaican women. Praise Jah. Rastafari.
Well,
Yes. There you go.
the older saying, behind every great man, there's a great woman.
I'm inclined to agree to that. At least I don't want to get too far on that particular subject, but I agree with you. That in order for greatness to be solidified and sustained, if you have a wife or indeed a husband, he says, in support of you, in total support of you, the likelihood of you sustaining your success is that much greater.
Absolutely.
Because
I
you're
agree with
beautifully
that
centered.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we don't want to forget our women.
No,
But today's show, we will focus on Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Okay. Can I first of all ask you this question, Eddie? How did you get to know of the great man? How did you? Who first introduced you to this great man, Marcus Mosiah Garvey?
I knew of him for a long time, but I have to admit it was probably in the 80s that I became more aware
Okay.
of him.
Why?
Because
Why?
I stumbled on something in 1983, which I didn't know, was the Berlin Conference.
Oh, okay. The carving up of Africa. Yes, tell us more.
Absolutely. And that led me to look more keenly on what my dad used to talk about. He was a Garveyite. But, I didn't consider that at the time how necessary it was to really look into what he was doing, because I saw that as something in the past and I was thinking of the future. But not connecting the two, because, I now come to really totally realize and accept the past is the present and the present is the future.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
And a lot of the things that we were taught as young people, as children, we probably took it for granted.
Indeed.
And it's only as we get older we realize that a lot of the things that our parents used to say to us wasn't an empty bucket.
No.
I remember I used to say, oh, I wouldn't do this with my kids. I wouldn't say this to my kids. And lo and behold, I ended up saying it. God damn, I sound like my dad.
Early influences, yes. It is true.
These things always remain with us, for a very long time. And sometimes it takes a long time for the penny to drop, if you like, to realize that a lot of things that our parents used to say to us had meaning, true meaning,
yes,
that we need to take on board, and for a long time.
If I may, Eddie, as regards to Marcus Garvey and the Berlin Conference, why was when you became conscious of the details of that Berlin Conference where they carved up our of the great land of Africa for their own economic interest. Why was that a trigger for you? Tell us, explain why.
Because I then realized that, all through my childhood and upbringing, you always, Africa is always portrayed as this poor country who had nothing, and we had to feed them, and, the poverty. Our history was never told.
Indeed.
And we were never allowed to really look at our history because we never had one.
Can you imagine? And if I may, because that's a really important point, and for many of the diaspora will understand this, and this is part of that propaganda propagated by the families in Jamaica that are former enslaver families, okay, and those enslaver families had real control over the economy, the politics, and indeed what was taught in schools. And one of their efforts, of course, one of their real efforts was to prevent the teaching of African history to the overwhelming majority of Jamaicans who are indeed ethnic Africans. You see, unless we tell people that you and I were born in Jamaica, there's no way we would know that we were not born in Africa. Do you see? So we're ethnic Africans. Yep, there you go. And the challenges, of course, if I just follow through this one, the challenges, of course, that presents is that if you don't teach the people their own history, let them have access to their own culture and traditions, you then imitate other people's. And you are like a tree without roots, as Marcus Garvey would say, yeah? Like a tree without roots. And so many of us from the Caribbean, and indeed from the diaspora, are like trees without deep roots because we don't remember our roots, because we were not taught our roots as children.
Marcus Garvey said, a people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots.
The peoples. And you are like a tree without roots, as Marcus Garvey would say, yeah? Like a tree without roots. And so many of us from the Caribbean, and indeed from the diaspora, are like trees without deep roots because we don't remember our roots, because we were not taught our roots as children. And what it takes is for us to go through a process of evolution, social evolution, as we grow up, to gain that higher consciousness, to learn and better understand our true history. And clearly, you and I know that African history is the most ancient human history. Yeah, because all history comes out of Africa. Yeah, and it's the African template, which is the template for all human beings across the planet. Praise be.
Absolutely.
Praise Jah. Rastafari.
Rastafari. Go on,
when I came across the Berlin Conference, it then led me to someone, I don't know if you've heard of him, Dr. Joseph Benjamin.
Oh, yes. I've read most of his books. Oh, yes. Yes.
And I got locked into that man, and he taught me so much.
Yes.
I couldn't get enough of him.
Let's give a wave. Let's give a clap to him, because he made that impression on tens of millions of diasporan Africans born out of Africa. I'm going to give him a big roar of applause. I don't often get to do that. Yes. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
we don't do that enough. We just don't do that enough. Acknowledging yet another great. I learned a great deal from him as well. And I recall seeing him on TV, and you had these so-called professors of Egyptian history.
You think that he took them to pieces?
And I tell you, he gobbled them up. You know, because their arrogance, their conceitedness was so profound, so clear, self-evident on the screen, so self-evident. And I've got to
What
tell
I
you that,
love about him, he wasn't just talking from books, but he actually did the work himself. He was an amazing anthropologist.
Amazing, yes.
You know, and he opened my eyes to so many things that my mouth was like a flycatcher. I felt really stupid. You know, how come all this information there and I never spent time to really investigate? You know, so he was a great inspiration for me. And, you know, there's a saying, you know, if you seek, you will find.
Marcus Garvey said, all the knowledge that you want is in the world, and all you have to do is go seek it.
Yes, very important.
And this whole journey for me was 2011.
2011? Yes.
When you could say the whole of England was on fire.
This is true.
Remember that?
It is true. It is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it very well. Very well.
Manchester, Liverpool, everywhere.
Yes.
There was riots.
Yes.
And I thought, what is happening?
It's important to know why there was a riot, though, because you know, you and I remember the sus time when the police could stop you just for looking. You know, they could stop you for any stupidness. You know? Go on, tell us more. Yeah.
Well, you know, I was saddened by it because I thought, what can I do? What can I do? And I never gave up that hope of what I can do.
Right.
But always looking for what I can do.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I was speaking to a friend of mine in Jamaica. And he had just had Dr. Garvey over in Jamaica.
Oh.
And I went, what? And I
when
said,
you say
wow,
Dr. Garvey,
come to England?
Forgive me, when you say Dr. Garvey, because remember we had in fact, let's talk about the great man, because you mentioned Dr. Garvey. I believe I know which Garvey you're referring to.
Indeed.
So first of all, Marcus Garvey, how many children did he have? Marcus Mosiah Garvey, how many children did he have?
2. Marcus Garvey Jr., which is the eldest, and Dr. Julius Garvey, MD. Because, you know, it's important that people realize he's not a PhD, he's a medical doctor, one of the world leading heart and vascular surgeon in the world.
Yes.
He's a phenomenal. I mean, he's retired from medicine now, but he brought a lot.
Yes, indeed.
Those
a real contribution. Yes. You're quite right. Can I, before talking about Julius Garvey, just talk about his brother, or I know it's now passed. Did you have any interaction with his brother, Marcus Garvey Jr.?
Well, they were very close. They were very close, and you know, he got very much. Marcus Jr. got very much involved with the UNIA.
He did.
You know,
he did.
But he himself, you know, was a learned person as well. You know,
he was indeed. And yes,
quite extraordinary. They went on different paths, but while Marcus Jr. was focused on his father's legacy and developing that, you know, Dr. Garvey buried his head in medicine.
Yes, that's right.
You know, and therefore, you know, it wasn't a situation where they were relying on their father's legacy, but actually creating and developing his philosophy and putting into practice, because that's what his father did. You know, he wasn't just a talker. He didn't just talk. He did. He's a doer. you know,
Yes.
and that's what I love
Very
about
much
him.
so.
You know, he puts things into practice in a practical way to show that it can be done. He's not just a talker to say, well, then do this, do that, and that can happen, you know. I will show you, you know. And he did that with the Black Star Liner and many other great things that he did in America.
So, first of all, let's talk about the Black Star Line, first of all. So, what was the purpose? Why did he set up the Black Star Line? What was his purpose?
Well, he was convinced that we need to have a deeper connection with Africa.
Yes.
And therefore, people who wanted to go to Africa could do so on a black ship. Not a slave ship.
Owned by us, you mean?
But
Owned by us,
to
yes.
transport goods to and from America and other places where goods from Africa could be imported or distributed around the world, you know, and not just being a country that or a continent that just import things from the West, but also exporting some of the great things of Africa and actually taking back the ownership of the minerals and all the things that Africa produces or had, which the West were really taking out like it belongs to them. So, you know, it's important to keep these people in their places, as it were.
Yes.
You know?
Okay.
And by doing
so, in other words,
they actually brainwashed us, actually, and we really don't realize how much we've been brainwashed.
Indeed. As you mentioned at the beginning about understanding our own history, it wasn't until you were in your teens you began to understand your own history. Can you imagine? That's a terrible thing. If I may, because of course the Black Star Line, of course, was, as it were, the practical example of his philosophy that we must stand on our own 2 feet.
Marcus Garvey says, the UNIA teaches our race self-help and self-reliance in all those things that contribute to human happiness and well-being.
Yep. And we should be self-sustaining, self-sufficiency, independent, economically independent. And you're quite right. And therefore, that was an expression of that self-help philosophy, without a shadow of a doubt. The other claim to fame, of course, is, of course, we would all know him as the founder, president of the UNIA. Can you remind us what that acronym stands for and why it is a powerful name in our history? The Universal Negro Improvement Association.
Yeah, Universal Negro
Improvement Association. It's okay.
Yeah.
So why did he found that organization, and what made it such a powerful name even till today?
Well, I think it rings a bell for a lot of people because it shows what we can do when we pull together.
Yes.
And it shows what can be achieved if we work together, share our ideas, but most importantly, to be able to follow instructions.
Aha.
And that was
why is that important? Why is that important? Why is that important?
It's important because, you know, he recognized that slavery was something that so endemic in our lives that we didn't even recognize it. And taking orders is quite a difficult thing to do because it's back in the slave mentality.
Marcus Garvey says, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds.
Marcus Garvey didn't develop all the things that he did in America just by the click of a finger,
No.
but he led by example. And it wasn't just his words that people felt really connected to, but his actions. You know, he put his words into actions. You know, he brought people together to really make them recognize their self, their dignity, their integrity, and their strength.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if I may at this point, because you're quite right. You noted in the opening segment of our dialogue, the motto of this channel is that this is where we translate our words into action, because success is ours for the taking. I've taken that directly from the great man himself, his philosophy.
Praise Jah, Rastafari.
That's his philosophy, yes? And it is about
Rise up.
self-belief, which generally is arrived at through raised consciousness. This is information about yourself, your family, your community, your peoples, yeah? And the history of those people, the culture and tradition, the richness of it, the successes that we've had in the past, the inventions that have been created by the people of the past, from which you can draw strength and pride from. And it's that disconnect which many people still in Jamaica and in the diaspora suffer from. And I notice now, even in the continent, they're not taught their history, their culture and tradition. And it is an interesting one, because you're right. One of the features of Jamaica, of course, you will recognize this, is that we made the enslavement of our people, our enslavement, yeah, unprofitable. Constant rebellion, constant destruction of the crops, of the equipment, yeah? Constant rebellion, never stopping. Sam Sharp, of course, yeah? He will attest to this. He made it clear, I'd rather die as a man standing on my feet and proud than have to bow to these people. Huh? So he went for death rather than that.
Bow, you know, right? And more importantly is Marcus Garvey really made people recognize themselves, be proud of themselves, be proud of who they are.
Yes.
You know, and with this self-esteem raising to a high point, we start to really recognize our true value and self.
Absolutely. Well said. So we mentioned the Black Star Line. We mentioned the the Universal Negro Improvement Association, which is its primary focus of why it's so important to us, is that even at that time, where you didn't have social media, where you had little or no telephone, didn't have emails, he still was able to gain a membership of more than 4 million people. Can you imagine?
10 million. That always
10 or 4 million.
How did he do this without a telephone?
Indeed.
How did he do this? Because what I come to realize that people around the world felt his pain because they were going through the same things.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
It's like Bob Marley's music. You know, people around the world recognize this message in his music, and therefore could absolutely, you know, feel a part of this passion that this man had for not just black people, for humanity.
Yes, you're quite right. And just to be clear, that the UNIA was founded in 1919, but in 1916 it was actually founded in, fully established in Harlem, in New York. So it's important to remember those dates and the time and the context in which he was operating in, which was extremely hostile for forward-thinking African man like an extremely hostile environment, and that word is a constant reminder of the resistance he was receiving. Okay, so those are two items. So the Black Star Line, UNIA. Now I believe he also has a newspaper, if I recall. Is that right? Did he have a newspaper? What was the name of that newspaper?
The Negro World was the weekly flagship newspaper of Marcus Garvey's UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association, serving as the primary vehicle for spreading his Pan-Africanist message worldwide. Founded in Harlem, New York, by Garvey and Amy Ashford Garvey, it became one of the most influential black publications in history, reaching a peak circulation of approximately 400,000 copies across 40 countries.
More than one, actually, because Amy used to edit that newspaper.
Okay.
And you also have to remember that, you know, while he was away in prison, Amy took up the mantle and carried on.
Yes,
meeting, you know, having meetings with Nairi, Lumumba, Kenyatta, and all those people, you know. So the whole thing was still functioning, even though he's away. And so one of my great, what can I call it? Redemption was him being pardoned by Biden.
In January 2025, President Joe Biden issues a posthumous pardon for Pan-Africanist leader Marcus Garvey, clearing his 1923 Melford conviction. The pardon arrived more than 100 years after Garvey was sentenced to 5 years in prison, a conviction long seen by supporters and legal experts as politically motivated and intended to cripple his global Pan-African movement. It failed.
This is true. It was indeed Biden. But before I get there, I just want to just keep on the historical context of the man. So he founded the newspaper,
Negro World,
which at one point had more than 500,000 with each edition, which in itself was fantastic. I'm also minded, of course, of its connection with Pan-Africanism and Rastafari. Those Rastas, of course, would identify Marcus Garvey as being more than just a national hero, an example of someone who didn't just speak about going back to Africa, who actually provided the framework in which that was possible. Okay. Yeah. And why Rastafaris and Rastas, of course, see him as being a powerful, awesome figure that we must not ever forget. In fact, we will not forget him.
Praise Jah, Rastafari.
We will not forget him.
It won't happen. It won't happen because what I am very proud of now, you know, to see so many young people who are tuning into Garvey.
Yes.
You know, and it's just not just the music, but they really start to look at their history and look at some of the great things that black people have done, you know, inventors in medicine and all sorts of things, and recognize that, hey, we have made a serious contribution.
Absolutely.
Regardless of what.
But we are going to say that we are in a position that we've always contributed, and absolutely they've always sought to suppress and hide the fact that we've made significant contribution to both the social and technological world that we are now experiencing and enjoying today. Because those two newspapers, the Negro World, it was then called, it's got to be noted, more than 500,000 editions at one point. It was really breaking new ground into our means of communicating those key message of pride in ourselves to counter the negative propaganda that others might want to propagate. And I should also add, if I may, just for you there, Eddie, of course, he founded many other businesses. There are hundreds of businesses right across both the United States, Canada, and of course, Jamaica, the Caribbean, founded by him, led by others, of course, but founded by him as a further means to entrench economic independence, yeah, and developing that culture of creating wealth within the African peoples of the time. Okay, so it's really important to keep mentioning those positives, those absolutely positive. We're not going to repeat the negative others may say about us. We absolutely will focus on, and those young people, those children who are watching these videos and are taking on board the content that we're sharing will draw strength from our words. Okay. You are, of course, one of the leaders, and I believe you may be the founders of the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust. Tell us about the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust.
Well, this came about in 2015 when I first managed to get Dr. Garvey here.
Julius Garvey, Dr. Julius Garvey, yes. Yes.
Dr. Julius Garvey, MD. And, you know, I remember when I put him back on the plane at Heathrow, the last thing he said to me, he says, Eddie, that was an amazing experience. But one of the things that I could not see, everywhere I go, people was talking about Garvey, but I can't see him anywhere. I can't see him anywhere. And I remember when I took him to the house in Talgarth Road, where he used to live, he was almost in tears.
You can see all the images of the great man.
From the house. And, you know, when he said that to me, I can't see him anywhere. And on my way home, I said, what can I do? And then we came up with this.
Oh, what is that? That the bronze...
is to create a statue for Marcus Garvey in the United Kingdom, because this is where he died.
Okay.
He died in the UK.
Yes.
And yet, we can't see him anywhere.
He died in what, 1940? 1940, I believe.
Yeah. And his body was exhumed in 1968.
That's right, and taken back to Jamaica.
And
yes.
I thought, this is our mission, to create a statue for him here. So, you know, the purpose of Dr. Garvey's visit is really about education and connecting with young people, which is right up my street. It's something that I really cherish. And everywhere he goes, to all the universities in Manchester, Birmingham, Nottingham, Liverpool, you know, it's just been a phenomenal in terms of the amount of young people who were like, wow, you know. And what was interesting at the university visit, it wasn't just only black students. The white students were equally as interesting to learn about Marcus Garvey. And I think they went away with a different perspective and understanding of black people. Because these things are not taught in the classroom.
That's right. Yes, it's lots of propaganda. That's all they get. Can you imagine? You weren't here, didn't go to junior school here, but the only history we were taught about African peoples in the British schooling system when I was a child was the enslavement and humiliation of African peoples. How disgusting. History started in Africa. Yeah, the first literary person was African. The first astronomer was African. The first mathematician was African. The first artists were African. Yeah, the first baby to be born was from an African woman. Yeah, can you imagine? But yet, here in the British Empire,
you have to remember this. Excuse me. You have to remember this. You cannot let people know their history because they will start to argue with you. And if they know their history, then they will become rebellious. So it's about control. And if I can degrade you as much as I possible, then you will learn to comply.
Indeed. Indeed. So you become more English than the English. Oh.
Well, you could say that. Yeah, because that's all you know. Yeah. So you don't even recognize. I say this to even scholars, academics, which refuse to accept that they're brainwashed.
That's right. Indeed.
Because they have a PhD, a professor or whatever, but, that which they have accumulated is all from the English language.
Yeah.
It's all from the English, I have to say, the British,
Yep. Yep.
Britannia ruled the waves.
As it were. And just to be clear, hold on a second. Just to be clear. So that's one of those euphemisms that we were taught as children to believe that Britain, therefore, was all powerful without any recognition. And just take Jamaica as an example. And Sam Sharp, we mentioned earlier on. If you spoke your own language, they would cut out your tongue. If you tried to escape, they'll cut off your leg. Yep. If you try to have a wife under your own term, they'll brutalize your woman in front of you. Yeah. It was all about domination of the most heinous crimes being committed to achieve that domination. And what people often want to gloss over is that this wasn't happening just for 1 year or for 10 years, or for 10 years. No, it happened for lifetimes. And what is therefore not taught in British schools is the horror of the British Empire. It was not taught. What they taught about, it's quite, it was quite wealthy. We had food and we got clothes on our back, without any regard to the humiliation that Africans suffered every day. And if we were able to have, if Sam Sharp were here now, he would look us straight in the eye and make it clear what he is, his identity. And he will say clearly, I'm not simply black, I'm an African man.
Can I
Praise Jah. Rastafari.
So, may I say something? It's like, there's something I learned from Professor Ben Yokahan. He says, explain to me. He says, if you take a rabbit from Africa and bring it to the US or the UK, and it then have little rabbits, isn't it still a rabbit?
Indeed, yes.
So when people say, I'm a Jamaican, I'm a West Indian, I'm an African, American, British, whatever, you are still an African. It doesn't matter where you're born.
There you go.
You're still an African. And a lot of us have problems with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, it's not that, and to be clear, not that we have a problem with it, it's that they have been taught to think in a particular way, and what we've got to do is help them to overcome the deficiencies of their early childhood education. And that, I hope, is one of the purpose of the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust that you founded and you lead, is that education. Tell us about some of the activities of the trust, please, Eddie.
Well, it's important, we have full motto. And, it really is, inspiration, aspiration, and propagation.
Oh, you're looking away from us. You're looking away from us now.
Sorry. And those four things are linked to really looking at oneself.
Okay.
But our absolute determination is to really, or our purpose in it for existence really, is to establish this statue. Because I think it's important that we start to recognize our past heroes and sheroes.
Okay. Yes.
And he set the trend, and I use the term trend, for us to recognize ourselves. And I'd like to come back to Dr. Garvey. And that's what I've learned from Dr. Garvey, how important it is to recognize ourselves and really look at our young people as the future generation.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, as the song says, teach them well and let them lead the way.
All right.
And we have to see ourselves as just the gatekeepers for the future generation to really strive, which means
Agreed.
we need to teach them well, not isolate them, and a lot of people have problem with this because, they'll all tell you, oh, young people this, young people that, and da. They are looking for someone to teach them and someone to lead them.
Absolutely.
And that was one of the things that inspired me from meeting Dr. Garvey and see the impact he had on young people to create this thing in my musical realm for 3G. Because I felt, 50 odd years in the music industry, I've accumulated a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, and I'd like to share this. And therefore, the only way I can share it is to work with the younger generation. So when I put it to my peers, about, doing an album with young people, it was like, are you crazy? We're on two different tracks. I said, we can bring the tracks together. How? The only way you can do it is to put that into practice. And even though you may think that young people, have a different mindset from ourselves, we can learn a lot from our younger generation, as well as we can share a lot of our knowledge.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I was going to say, I'm inclined to agree with you. Just to be clear, though, that the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust is based in London, is it? It's based in London, is that right?
Yes, it is based in London, yeah.
Okay. And it's do you collaborate with organisations such as Fairfield House, is that right?
Yeah, I took him to Fairfield House the last time, which was quite remarkable. The last time we went to Bath, and we had a good time there, and it was quite eye-opening, both for him and for myself, because I've never been there before either. So that was quite an interesting thing, So that's part of our legacy too, because even though that house was left to the people of Bath, it left to the entire nation. And I think, we have to see that as part of our legacy, And again, Marcus Garvey always says, look to Ethiopia for our king.
Absolutely right. And I want to touch on that later on if we've got a little time. And just to remind the audience of your principles of pride, of economics independence. Yep. Pride of economic independence. And that's of course to ensure that the trust primary aim activities is legacy preservation, okay, education and collaboration, like Favorite House. You want to encourage whole family involvement in remembering, yes, okay, and of course with a strong cultural focus. Okay, and those are the types of initiatives around which the trust are currently centred, okay, which is really fascinating. And you've not mentioned the idea of establishing a statue of Marcus Garvey. And if a statue was to be erected of Marcus Garvey, where ideally would you like it to be sited?
I knew you were going Okay. It's something that I've been trying to skirt around for a long time because that question always comes up. But it's very difficult to do this because I've been seeking to have that question answered, but I can't answer it until I can find where. I've got it in my mind where I think it should be, but it's whether or not the power at be will agree to it, because what I envisage is to have a statue similar to Nelson Mandela.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
And nobody object to Nelson Mandela's statue, right? Why would they want to object to the man who gave birth to all of those people that followed him?
Indeed.
He opened the gate. And, I can only think because his argument was so powerful, we cannot unleash this to the wider public. But I think people are becoming more and more understanding that his message is not to segregate, but to integrate. Equal rights.
Yes, we want greater self-reliance.
Humanity, that we're all human beings on this planet.
Yes. All right. The answer to my question, or you're not allowed to say at this point, where you would like the statue to be erected? Or you're not allowed to say?
I'm not going to say because I'm talking to a couple of authorities, But if anybody got any ideas, I would love to hear them. But I can't make any predictions at the moment because I'm talking to a couple of authorities. Maybe you could throw your own in the mix if you like.
Okay, let's see what it's knowing what is a suitable location. The question, where is a suitable location? Maybe that's an off-camera discussion, but I understood a suitable location in your mind. And of course, we can advocate for it. Let's put it this way, in that case.
Well, I'll be perfectly honest, yeah, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn or to really take this for granted, but I think it should be in Windrush Square.
Ooh, indeed. There's some obvious synergy there, isn't there? Obvious synergy.
Yes,
we should.
Yes. They've laid the foundation of having, things in that borough that really identify, if you like, black existence and black contributions, you know. So therefore, you know, there's a street in Lambeth named after him, Marcus Garvey Street, you know. So
and there's
why
also
not
one in
have
Southwark, I might add. There's also one in the neighbouring borough of Southwark, Marcus Garvey Close. Just for you to know.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. But, you know, this is just something, you know, I would like it to be more of a collective thing to say, you know, do this, or this is where it should be, you know.
That
Maybe
makes perfect
you can
sense.
pop a few words around Southwark and see if they would welcome the idea. You know,
what I would do here, and it's important, I'll put on the screen the details of how they can contact yourself, and let's have a further discussion. We must give I can see obvious synergy there, but other alternate locations should not be ignored. I think maybe the Bar of Lewisham is another one that we should look at, but let's see what we can do. At least we set ourselves there's a call to action, as it were, as a result of this part of the episode. Can I now go to another call to action? You mentioned earlier on that you were able to, in 2015, you said, to enable that Dr. Julius Garvey to come over here, and you mentioned what he thought of Britain. I understand you want to get him back here, if not this year, most certainly next year, but most certainly quite soon. Is that right? And how are your plans progressing?
This year is certainly not a chicken anymore. You know, he's in his 90s, but extremely active.
Yes.
And, you know, one has to be realistic in these things. I don't think we'll see him again in terms of his travels, because he's winding down his activities.
Yes, he's tried to wind down. Yes, he's tried to wind down.
And therefore, you know, I think this year is really crucial for us to have him here, because I would really, really, really like our young people to really have this connection with him, because what I experienced from the younger generation in schools where he visited was just unbelievable. And there's one thing that happened at Deptford Green School that I will never forget, because it was mind-blowing. And I must share this little story with you. There was a kid that went home, and he was telling his mother about his experience of meeting Marcus Garvey's son. And his mother was like, wow, how was it? And she said, yeah, he was good. And how much he enjoyed it and everything. And then she said, okay, tell me more over dinner. Go and wash your hands. And he said, no, mommy, I can't wash this hand. You know, this hand shook the son of Marcus Garvey, and you want me to go and wash it? No, do that. When the head teacher told me the story, I cracked up, because what I realized there and then, that this is an experience that this young man will never, ever forget as long as he lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
powerful source of inspiration. Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. And that inspired me, that how much we can influence our younger generation by taking action, showing them things, speaking to them.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And not always, you know, issuing orders and in other words, you know, we should talk to them, not talk at them.
Absolutely. And it's so important when we talk about our children, as it were. The vast majority of our children are good, upright men and women. Yep, who just want to be just want to get on with life. Okay, there's always a few who are whatever, but that's the vast majority. And what they're thirsty for are those positive role models. Yeah? Those people who are inspirational. But can you imagine shaking the hand of the son of Marcus Mosiah Garvey? When I like to think I'm going to meet him next year or so. I'm going to shake his hand, and I will not wash my hand for another month or two. I'm going to shake his hand.
This year, we've got to do that. And
yes.
We haven't touched on that, but in order to do that, I would really like this to be what I call a people's visit. And that's why, rather than going around cap in hand, I would really like the general public to support this tour. And for that, we have set up a GoFundMe page. And I would really like some support in that, one of which you promised, to really get this thing going and make it happen so it becomes a people's tour.
100%. I can say, I don't need to speak to the Motivators team here. I can say we are 100% behind you. Okay. And the link to the GoFundMe, if you can provide that to us, we will promote it. Absolutely promote it for you.
The Marcus Garvey Legacy Fund seeks your financial support to secure Dr. Julius Garvey, the last remaining son of the great Marcus Mosiah Garvey. To help us fund this tour, go to gofundme.com and place in the search bar Empowering Future Generations, Dr. J. Garvey, UK Tour 2026. A link to the GoFundMe site can be found below this video. Thank you for your support.
Okay. Is there a target figure you're trying to achieve?
Yes, it's around £4,500 that we're looking for.
Okay. All right. Okay. And is there a time of the year in which you ideally would like Dr. Garvey to be with us?
June, October, as part of our Black History Month celebration in the UK.
Brilliant. We'll make sure we give it promotion. Look, in fact, I don't need to refer to anyone else. I'm going to just say straight up, the Motivator team, the Motivator Show YouTube channel, will happily donate £1,000 today for this effort. £1,000 pledge.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What an inspiration. What an inspiration.
Absolutely.
Lead the way, sir. Thank you so much.
So there you are. That's almost 25% the way there. Can you imagine? I believe that others will follow this example.
Exactly. Because it's one of the things we live in a time where people follow examples, and for someone in your position who have a wide audience, and I do believe that people listen to you and love your show, and I hope that people will get some good inspiration from our little chat today. And it's been a real honor to be on your show, and thank you so much for inviting me. And yeah, we have a lot in common, and therefore, it's been a long time coming. But
absolutely, it's most certainly been a long time coming. Most certainly has been. So we'll definitely want to promote the GoFundMe link. I'll get those details on the screen. At this point in time, is the purpose of the visit to be present at schools or public meetings? What is the purpose of the visit, just so we're all clear?
Well, we have two directives in terms of seeing in doing a community visit, schools, university. So how, I'm going by how we planned it the last time, and it works perfectly. We go to any city or borough for a day, Yeah.
Okay, a
So
borough by the day, right? Okay.
yeah. Bearing in mind we don't have a lot of time. The first thing that we want to do is to find a country that will have a reception for him, to welcome him to the UK.
All right, where should we meet? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be looking at universities and schools. So if a borough were to want him for the day, it'll be entirely how the borough would want to organise that. We need to go through the local authority to have him in schools for the day.
Yes.
You know, if it's in the borough, we'll look at any organisation within that borough to have a meeting. You know, if there are day centres or things like that, you know, we would very much like him to visit elderly people as well, you know, which was one of the things that he did in Nottingham and Manchester. And, you know, there was this video, you know, he went to this elderly centre, you know, and this lady says, "My God, me never thought me would live for see this day.
Good.
Here I am meeting the son of Marcus Mosiah Garvey." She wept.
Yes, I can imagine.
The
I can
whole
imagine.
room was choked up by this lady's experience.
Absolutely. Yes.
And those are the things that move me, Martin, because I thought, how can I not take this further?
Absolutely.
How can I not let more people have this experience?
Absolutely.
Because it's enough.
Yes. Yes. We agree. You know? We agree. We at the Motivator Show YouTube channel, we give you our 100% support. And however we can put you in touch with relevant parties at the relevant boroughs, we will do so.
The Marcus Garvey Legacy Fund seeks your financial support to secure Dr. Julius Garvey, the last remaining son of the great Marcus Mosiah Garvey. To help us fund this tour, go to gofundme.com and place in the search bar Empowering Future Generations, Dr. J. Garvey, UK Tour 2026. A link to the GoFundMe site can be found below this video. Thank you for your support. Dr. Julius Garvey's UK tour is being sponsored by the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust, PNP UK, and Demotivatorshow. Add your organisation name or your name to our sponsors list. To add your organisation as a sponsor of this all-important trip by Dr. Julius Garvey, send your message to e.capone@btinternet.com. I repeat, e.capone, CAPONE, @btinternet.com.
May I ask you one thing? Would you object for you being on our PR as one of our sponsors?
Absolutely, absolutely. More than happy to do so.
Thank you. Because when we get to the point where we start to develop the press release, we'd really like to have you as one of our sponsors in terms of, you know, all our publicity stuff that that will be going out, press, TV, whoever, whatever, you know, wherever they go, you know.
Perfect.
So yeah, any help and assistance that you can help us to achieve this goal will be an absolute Not
Thank
just
you. Don't
joy,
worry,
but
you have our support. Don't you worry. We'll discuss this offline. I was just saying, closing. We've covered a lot of ground now. We've covered a lot of ground. Now, this will be an important and indeed seminal moment for tens of thousands of people of African heritage, and indeed all peoples here, to see a man's son, a man whose historical impact is really so awesome, so powerful, that every person of, particularly of the diaspora, will recognize the name Marcus Garvey. And to have his son present, I'm assuring you, that will be a powerful psychological boost. And it will raise consciousness, encourage and engender further inquiry, both from him on all the other personalities that are important to us, and will ensure that that theme that we discuss here right at the very beginning, that this is where we translate these words into action, because success is ours for the taking. In unity is strength, we say. In unity is strength. Eddie, come home. We want to thank you for being a truly inspired guest here. You may want to say a closing word to the people. Any closing words you have to say to the people?
never mind what they say, just what you do. Because Marcus Garvey always says, don't sound like a bunch of chicken making a whole heap of noise and not laying one egg.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, we need to put our words into action. Say what you mean and mean what you say.
That's right.
Then you can become a trustworthy citizen of the world.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Powerful. Thank you, sir. Live long and prosper, as they say. Praise Jah, Rastafari.
Likewise.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure, sir. Thank you. So
Wasn't that something? And I think you'd all agree. I played virtually the entirety of that particular interview, but I have got to say that there are so many references that we need to bring forward in the final edited version, which will make that particular dialogue a powerful educational tool. Okay, it's been worked on as we speak. It will be a powerful educational tool that will stand the test of time. I want to thank Eddie Capone of the Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust. If you wish to be a sponsor, details were on screen, but we also place the details in the comment section of this podcast. So be aware it is available to you. This would be an important historic seminal moment to have the son of one of our great presence in our midst here in Britain. Powerful. But before I go, I just want to make one further announcement. We mentioned earlier on Dr. Carlton Brown. We mentioned, of course, the Black Entrepreneurs publication, and of course, it was, of course, the race paradox. But the UK Black Entrepreneurs Conference is still scheduled for July of this year. Okay, and if you haven't picked up a ticket, we want to encourage you to do so. We've negotiated with Dr. Carlton Brown for a discount to be available for those of you who've listened to our podcast and wish to attend that particular event. It is going to be an important event to attend, and we wish to encourage you to do so. So here, I'm going to put on the screen in a moment how you can take advantage. In fact, what we're going to do is place that information on the screen, and we want you, when you're booking your ticket, to mention the discount that the Demotivatorshow has negotiated. And in doing so, you'll be able to access the conference at a discounted price. There you go. And there you go. I put it on the screen for you now. So it will be the UK Black Business Entrepreneurs Conference it will be, of course, on Wednesday, the 8th of July, and it will be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The venue is 250 Bishopsgate, okay? But you need to purchase tickets online. Now, it's important to use these codes. So if you go to Eventbrite and you insert the UK Black Business Entrepreneurs Conference 2026, okay? And as you purchase the ticket, if you use the following codes, which are important in order for you to gain access to the event, and it is, and I put it here, Easter 2026. Okay, there you are. That's the code to use, and you will get your discount. Thank you. An important event. If you're considering starting a business, it is the place to be. If you're also if you're in business and you wish to develop your network of contacts, take on new customers potentially, it is the place to be. If in doubt, ask questions. We can always be reached at our usual email address, and if I put that on the screen for you all, and that should help as well. We found that often when speaking to our audience, the email address is proven to be very helpful. Demotivatorshow 501@gmail.com. There you are. Thank you all of you. Thank you all of you. If in doubt, ask questions, we say. If in doubt, ask questions, okay? If in doubt, ask questions. There you go. Wow, well, that was a mega show, I think, for us. That was a mega show. And what we would like to say to you all, that it has been, it is a testament, it is a true testament that our guests are proved to be truly inspirational. And these are simply talkers. They are doers. Yeah. Translate our words into action, because success is ours for the taking. That's the philosophy here. So we recruit, we are dialogue with doers, people who could actually deliver, verified and affirmed. They will deliver. Thank you. Thank you. So I say to you all, until the next time, I remain the motivator.
The Marcus Garvey Legacy Trust is a UK-based organisation dedicated to preserving the history and values of the Pan-African leader Marcus Mosiah Garvey, founded following a 2013 visit to the UK by Garvey's son, Dr. Julius Garvey. The Trust focuses on education, memorialisation and community empowerment. Marcus Garvey's second wife was Amy Jacques Garvey, a Jamaican-born journalist and activist. The couple married in July 1922 in Baltimore, shortly after Garvey's divorce from his first wife, Amy Ashford Garvey. They had two sons together, Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr., also referred to as Marcus Mosiah Garvey III. Born on the 17th of September 1930, followed by Dr. Julius Garvey, born 1933. He built a distinguished identity as a medical professional, an accomplished cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon. He is widely known today for his tireless activism in preserving and defending his father's legacy. Marcus Garvey said, All the knowledge that you want is in the world, and all you have to do is go seek it. Marcus Garvey said, all the knowledge that you want is in the world, and all you have to do is go seek it. Praise Jah, Rastafari. Marcus Garvey says, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. In January 2025, President Joe Biden issues a posthumous pardon for Pan-Africanist leader Marcus Garvey, clearing his 1923 mail fraud conviction. The pardon arrived more than 100 years after Garvey was sentenced to 5 years in prison, a conviction long seen by supporters and legal experts as politically motivated and intended to cripple his global Pan-African movement. It failed.